Hi everyone. So I unexpectedly got under 30 minutes in Get to Work, and as a not great gamer, I wanted to share what worked for me and what might be useful for somebody else who is also in a similar position of not necessarily being a speedrunner, but wanting to beat the game quickly for the Steam achievement or for whatever other reason. So starting off, there's not much to this first room that can't, be gleaned from the video, so I'll shut up until the next room probably. But I will go up front and say that throughout this whole run, I didn't fall a major amount, as in I didn't fall to a previous section or anything like that. So I'll start off by saying that if you are struggling with consistency in a particular room, I would definitely make sure that it's consistent before you start trying to do a full game run through. I feel like I kind of got lucky in this one because there were definitely places that I could have and should have fallen. But another part of that is making sure that your recovery game is on point and you know how to recover from bad situations. You'll see me use the brakes a lot when I'm going around these corners. This is just something that I've started doing out of habit, but it's not necessarily saving me much time. I don't think I'm actually like saving time by turning around quickly or anything like that. It was just a habit that I started picking up on, and it kind of stuck with me throughout this whole run. All right, so that room was pretty easy. This room, just take it slow and steady. I would line up close to the end, but not to the end of each platform if you're trying to make sure that you make each jump. Just because if you go to the very start of the platform, you build up too much speed and then you have to slow down awkwardly, and it might be hard to recover that while you're trying to think about other things or future parts of the map. And so it's all about consistency. Just trying to play it very safe. And then right here we get to the first minor blip of the run. I jumped way too early on this and I try to recover, but I can't quite make it back on. So recovery route, just fall back down and then go back up. Being aware of where you can go to recover at all times is really important to making sure that you maximize the amount of time that you can spend pushing forward instead of having to retrace your steps.
There it is, the offer letter. You grab the letter and read it out loud.
Embarrassing miss there.
We regret.
I don't really know how to minimize the amount of falling that you do here. I just sort of send it.
Has been filled.
But I know that there are strategies, I just don't know them.
Going back to square one always stings, but you're not alone. This happens to everyone at some point in their lives. Luckily, your mom's...
In this room, you can do like the fancy cuts, like on this jump here, I think. But honestly, they don't save you too much time. Yeah, they can even lose you time if you mess them up. I would just go for consistency in this room. And then this jump saves you maybe like 2 or 3 seconds, so it's not vital by any means.
Congratulations on completing your training. Go home, get some rest. Tomorrow is your first real day at work.
I don't really know how to do the cuts with the boosters, so I just take normal route and try to do the normal route well and hope that that's enough. And luckily in this case it was. But feel free by all means to learn those strategies because I know that they're very important for the any percent speedrun, if that's something that you're curious about.
Look how big the warehouse is. Think of all the room for productivity. There are absolutely no downsides to working in such a massive...
Here, I don't know what I was thinking. I kind of went the wrong way and collected the podcast by accident. This route, I don't think is faster than normal way if you're just trying to get to the end. We can hear the grind set now.
Wanted to ask a question about how I build passive income while working a minimum wage job. You know, it's kind of draining.
Bro, I'm gonna cut you off right there. Minimum wage? There's your first mistake.
What do you mean?
That's the government, bro. The government created minimum wage.
Again, all about consistency on those moving platforms because they can definitely screw you over if you're trying to be fancy with it. I know in this one I'm like, okay, I can definitely make this jump, and then I chicken out last second, and good thing I did because it would have fallen.
Yeah, okay, but how does that help me?
If you want more information, you're gonna have to buy my course.
Yep, so still no major mistakes, which is really nice, and that theme kind of continues, so my heart rate like started slowly rising over the course of the run. This is a fun little skip that I found. I'm sure other people have found it as well, but this was one that I used to just skip over the slow bits. Unfortunately, I'm a bit bad, so I fall down because I grabbed the ledge. But again, recovery routes are everywhere. And if you just full speed this, you can make the jump. I'm also assuming that whoever's watching has beaten the game at least once, so you know how at least to do the jumps once. So I won't explain the specifics unless it's related to a skip. Be aware that you do need to touch this platform once to trigger the next part, and I missed on my first go.
Oh, to be young and naive. They were never going to promote a lowly warehouse worker. That would require them to pay you more. But you refused.
My line for this was kind of scuffed. But again, recovery routes. Typically when you jump up over a ledge like that, you can use the additional height to gain every little bit, extra bit of speed, which might be important for recovering a bigger jump that you might not otherwise have been able to make. I thought about skipping the ramp there, but then I chickened out again. And it honestly doesn't save too much time, so continuing to play it safe, continuing to just try to be making every jump first go, so you don't have to retrace your steps. And then this cut is just a swag strat.
Your mom walks into your room with a letter. You got the job. Tomorrow is your first day as an unpaid intern. What an honor.
My final time clocked in at around 26 minutes, so there's about 4 minutes of extra stuff, of extra skips that I did that probably aren't necessary. And here I just got lost in the sauce, trying to skip the ramps. To be honest, I've only really skipped the ramps like once or twice in my playthrough, so I wasn't sure which ones to skip and which ones not to skip. It's just down to me not knowing the route. But if you follow a normal route, you should be fine.
But you're a little discouraged as well.
And you'll see me do these recoveries everywhere, so make sure that you're at least comfortable with them, because they will happen, and it's important to be able to recover from them. This is the first big area with skips in the run, but these are fairly well-known skips, I think, at this point. And so I actually missed this on my first go, but yeah, I clipped the bottom of the ramp there. But of course you want to take the ramp with speed and then jump up to the second level so that you can skip up to the 4th floor after that. So here, jump, hold forward this whole time, go from low to high, jump onto the platform and brake. And then from here you just hold forward onto the ramps and you should have enough speed to get up to the floor 4. You can also climb on that sign of 4-3 as a backup if you land there instead. And then another big skip coming up, so try not to go too fast through these ramps because you can definitely overjump like I did here. But make sure that you utilize as much space on the ramp as you can to accelerate and then make it up to this. And then this wall is really hard to climb. I personally couldn't. I feel like I was right there, but eventually I just gave up. And then I don't like jumping off of this pillar, so I made sure to jump over to the left. And then from here, it's easier to jump up to the top. And that skips, of course, all the interview questions on the right there. This one is something that I struggled with a lot. I ended up second guessing myself and tilting myself too low. But the recovery isn't too bad for this. And then again, tilted myself too low. But you can recover on this ramp, despite it not looking like it. And this probably isn't saving me too much time at this point, given how much I've had to retry this. But eventually I get it.
You did it. The job is yours. And as you watch the other interns get
So continuing to make steady progress.
It takes the prestige of being a junior financial analyst. You're ready to kick ass and make money, and you're all out of
This part should be on lock. I've fallen here a lot, so it was muscle memory to me.
No one is going to notice you if you don't make yourself stand out. Being a cog means doing a lot of the same thing over and over again.
But these first few spinners aren't too hard. They're pretty generous with how much space you have to work with. This was where the mental started hitting me, because I got distracted and looked at my other screen. So here I let go for a brief second. I'm not sure if you could see that, but I ended up missing the ramp entirely. So know your backups. Here, just hold forward, and then keep an eye on the speedometer on the left. As soon as it gets to about 45, 50 to 45, you can do a 180 and jump back onto this recovery platform, and then skip that whole section below us. It's not too hard of a skip as long as you carry speed from the previous ramp. You just have to hold forward, and then as soon as you see it cross to 50 speed, you can hold back, and you should be able to make that jump. I'll also be upfront in saying that this run has no top cuts. I think that's what it's called. Top grabs, sorry. Except for one. But the one that I use is very easy, doesn't save much time, and also can be performed at any FPS. So that's why I'm running the game at 60. I messed up this jump here, but no big deal, because it's not too much of a loss. And then I learned this skip yesterday from my friend, where if you take these first few ramps with speed, you'll see here I hesitate in my approach because I don't think I have enough speed. So I back away and try to build up more speed. But if you keep speed through these first 3 ramps, you can jump to the end of the level, basically. So 1, try to maximize speed 2, and then here go low to high. It feels like not enough speed, but you can just barely make it to this bowl. And of course, climb and recover and all that. Alright, now we're in middle management. This is where I definitely thought the run was going to reset, if at all, because this was where I struggled with the most in my normal playthrough.
His uncle is a VP. The prestige of middle management. You're assigned a team of juniors, a huge...
And then here's another swag strat. You grab right before you fall so that you don't splatter. Then I have to stand back up.
And by the way, if your team's earnings drop to the bottom 30%, you'll be fired. Welcome to middle management. No one really knows what you do here, and in fact, no one...
If you're like me and you spent a lot of time here, you should be very familiar with these jumps. Which hopefully means that you won't spend too much time here. But man, this room is really a killer for me.
You know, a lot of people stay in middle management for their career. Look at Dom. He's been here for 20 years. He's also bald, and he seems pretty happy.
Yep, just normal jumps through all of this. Nothing much to write home about. Make sure that you get it first go.
But he tells you that with the current budget, you'll have to put a pin in it until after they can get their ducks in a row trying to accelerate.
Okay, here's another nice recovery. You don't need speed for this next ramp. You can just climb up here to this beam, and then if you run at it with enough speed, you can get over it. So here I am resetting for more speed. And then you can just do this whole section without any wind up. I've never taken the right path there. I've always taken the left path, so I don't know what goes on the right path. It might be faster, for all I know. But here you can just run up the pyramid and go to the and I'm sure that many people know this. Minor clip there, so I was surprised that I was able to keep speed, but it ended up working out.
Have to decide right now. Ah! The only way to move
Okay,
on
and
is
now
to
we're at the
until you take the job. And
next
as luck would
area.
have it, they're in need of a new department head, and you were in the running. At this stage in your career,
There's a lot of skips here. I know that in the any percent speedrun, this part barely gets seen, but I am not very good at those. So I'm showing you what I found to be most consistent and easiest for me to achieve. You can see I already missed a jump, and then you can't climb back up on this part, but that is important later, being able to climb up. So easy recovery route. And then this was, I think, one of the recoveries I'm most proud of during this run because I didn't know it was possible until I tried it. You truly don't need much speed for this start, so you can just roll up, catch the wave down, and then continue. I wasn't expecting that to work, but luckily it did. Here I think there's a skip that goes up the wall, but I wasn't sure how it worked, so I bounced off the wall instead.
Viral tweet that all the Gen Z kids like, and now he's a department head.
And then this jump gave me a lot of trouble in my normal playthrough, so I made sure to line it up really well. But you can see just like how full of the mistakes and how many skips I'm not doing, and I'm still able to get under 30 minutes. However, here's another big one coming up. So you just go straight for this recovery ramp.
But 3 other managers have been fired trying to make it work.
And then you aim off to that ramp in the distance, or to that platform in the distance, and if you bump against it, you get enough of a speed boost to make it on top. And this takes you to the end. And this is the other major speed skip of the run. So I did end up learning this strategy from the speedrun. But it was honestly easier than I thought. So you fall off right when you're about to hit the sign. You fall off slowly, and you have 2 big bumps. And that should give you enough height to clear the gap to the next area. And this skip is one that I think everybody knows, or has seen people do. This is the only top cut in the run, but it works at any FPS as far as I'm aware, and it's fairly easy because it has a huge, generous landing area here in the back, as long as you hold left after doing the cut, and then you can just fall back in. Honestly, the saves maybe like 5-10 seconds. It's not much, given the way I did it. Don't mind me messing this part up. Keep in mind that you need a specific amount of speed for this part to start off with. Another skip coming up here, which was not that hard to learn. Do a small release here, and then continue holding forward. And that should give you enough speed to bump up and over to this section. And I'm really happy that I got it first try, because that's how I knew this was a real run. Honestly, that can take upwards of 5 tries, and you can still make it.
Sweep the whole leadership team into prison, just as you thought. They need a new VP. And as the first candidate to apply without a criminal record, you're instantly chosen.
This part is unusual. I, again, have never had to recover from there before, but luckily it worked out. But yeah, all those skips that you saw in the previous room, those were all learned in less than a day. So practice it a few times if you want to become consistent at it, but I think it's really useful just for skipping over the annoying parts. I know most of this room can be skipped too, but that is with the what's it called, the top grabs, which I'm not very good at, given that I play at 60 FPS.
The goal is and has always been to be CEO. You have no idea how, but all you
Weird
know
lines
is
here, but it
keep
manages to work.
grinding.
Again, being very careful not to overjump any of this. For all the arches in this game, you can just go up halfway and not have to do the full arch. You honestly don't need that much speed. So it's pretty tolerant of loss.
Other VPs are also arrested for
I
embezzlement.
think I mess up here
You're not surprised. That guy was
in one of these next
But
sections.
now they're desperate to fill his spot. They ask you to jump ship. And
That's right,
honestly,
okay.
Who are you to say no to a 7-figure salary with stock options? And a shot at being CEO? You take the job.
So this next jump coming up here, right here, was a big mental block for me. And I just approached it wrong like a few times. Recovery, recovery, recovery. Can't say it enough, but know how to recover. At this point in the run, I wasn't quite sure how many minutes would be left, and so I wasn't totally sure that sub 30 would be possible. Here I mess it up again, but easier recovery this time. You can just jump back up if you do it right. Then try again from the top.
You make a change to the company. It's bold. It's risky. AAA stocks inside AA bonds with chip bond stock bond chips is something no one would ever dream to do. But you did, and the board likes that.
And then this is likely the moment I'm most embarrassed about because I messed up this approach completely. And then I was like, oh, okay, I can recover this. I can just go backwards. I've never recovered from here before, so I was like, okay, I can make this jump. And then, is that enough speed? It's not enough speed. So, okay, what if I go back 2 platforms? So I go back 1 platform. Takes me a while to get up. I go back 2 platforms. I can't go back 3 platforms, and then I just fall off. And so, know when to cut your losses. I think that idea was doomed from the start. And just try again. There we go. Then I forgot you don't need speed for this. So I spent extra time trying to line it up.
You spend half of your salary on flying a board member to Wimbledon. They don't even like tennis, but they like being schmoozed. And you like how that helps your chances at being...
I messed up this approach too, but another recovery. Can jump up, and it gives you a little bit extra speed to make it up to this part. But honestly, probably not enough speed because then I was too slow for this part. You can luckily just grab the yellow wall, and even if you're dangling and inside of the geometry, when you let go, it'll pop you on top of the platform, which is very convenient because you don't need much speed for this next part either. And you can just continue as usual, as if it never happened.
The economy is in a downturn, and the company is losing money hand over fist, except for your department. Buying and shutting down companies...
I psyched myself out on a lot of these, but
really working.
all you have to remember for this jump in particular is inside, outside, and then at the very end flick upward.
Is really working.
And it should give you enough momentum to consistently make it over. And then here, just no fear, hold forward. This is something like I struggle with my hands getting sweaty and like being scared that I'm going to slightly shift my way left or right, but honestly, holding forward was a lot harder for me, just because I wanted to second guess myself so often. Barely made it there. I accidentally braked before that, so I was concerned that I wasn't going to make it super inside line there, which I was also feeling nervous about.
The CEO of your old company is considering retirement. There's only room at the top for one.
Again, I braked there. These are probably bad habits to pick up on. Don't brake as you're trying to go downhill because it'll kill all your momentum. But here, I saw that I was on the final jump, so I was like, okay, this is it. And here, I would just make sure that you have the approach that you want. If you have time to wait, you definitely should. And so I didn't like this approach, retried it. I saw on the clock that I have good time.
You're ready to take the leap.
And then again, not quite enough. I didn't trust the landing there. It looked very iffy. So, okay, let's make sure that it's perfect. Go up. Look at the end. Jump across, and I'll let my reaction speak for itself. Let's go! Holy shit! Holy shit!
Work has finally paid off.
So yeah, hopefully these tips and looking at my run will help you out. But if not, I'm sure there's a plethora of other content that you can see to learn specific skips or learn other time savers. But good luck.